thechildsupporthustle.com.
The United States Census Bureau reported in 2002 that $40 billion in transfer payments were made between households of custody parents and other parents.
I got a free meal ticket for the next 18 years. For everybody who thinks like that, all women who think like that, kill yourself.
Crank that child support. See your ass in court. Crank that child support.
Stop putting child support on these men. That's slavery.
Just put the father of her children in jail because she wanted more money.
That's why attorney Mark Davis says he put out this cynical advertisement. It tells women they can make thousands of dollars per month by working from home if they simply get pregnant, have a baby, get rid of the dad, and then sue him using a free attorney provided by the state. Then it says they can spend the child support money on personal trips, drinking in bars, and expensive restaurants.
And guess what? That's legal in Texas.
The ad then targets men, telling them it isn't a fair world, and if they want to even the odds, they need to call him and lawyer up.
Child support is designed to meet the minimum basic needs of children. It's not supposed to be a transfer of wealth for drinking, partying, and going out to restaurants. I have a client that I recently represented. I got $1,400 a month for an infant that's 6 months old. It's impossible to spend $1,400 a month on an infant. It's just ridiculous.
What do you use child support money for? Can you answer that for me? I know, so y'all don't get crazy with me, shit, because I don't know nothing about no child support check. I know what the hell it is. I know you can put someone on papers, you know. But what are you supposed to use it for? Isn't it for the child? Isn't it to provide food, clothing, somewhere for the child to sleep, a roof over their heads? Isn't that what child support is for? And to help aid in that child's upbringing? That's what I thought it was used for. I didn't know it was used to go buy purses and go to the club, buy a new outfit, maybe get a 40. I didn't know it was used for all that. Years ago, I had worked in a gambling establishment where I was a manager there. If the bank was closed, they would cash their child support check there, and they would spend their money gambling. Then they'd complain, you know, a couple of weeks later, well, my baby ain't got no diapers and shit. And, you know, I done spent all my damn money up here in this damn place. And, motherfucker, whose fault is that? Once that person, whether it's a man or a woman, gives the other person the child support money, they basically can do whatever they want with it, I'm sure. I'm going to say majority of the women that do get child support. When are we going to learn that it's not for buying the baby fat outfit, or it's not for buying the Dooney and Burke purse? You know, or going down to the liquor store and getting you some liquor. It ain't for your drugs. That's not what child support is for. I know women who get, you know, $200, $300, $400 per kid from different men. You know, some of them ain't got to work. They like, I just sit on my ass and get my child support. And I go, you know, buy me some clothes and make my, you know. Okay, so you make your car payment with it because you have to drive the child around. You can't afford to buy the baby no clothes. I'm just wondering, you know. And if you're the type who's taking that child support check and going and buying that Dooney and Burke and those baby fat things, well, shame on you. How about that? Shame on you.
Motherhood is a choice women make. It is a choice they make entirely based on what they want. If they don't want to be obligated to a child, they really don't need to be. And these days, it's a decision a woman makes knowing full well that the state will hold a man financially accountable for mitigating that decision and making the resulting burden less onerous to her. I'm going to speak really, really slowly now, for the logically impaired. When you make a decision less costly for the person making it, that person is more likely to make that decision.
I'm an agent for change. I want things to be different. I want behaviors to change.
Girl, what restaurant accept the EBT cards for the hot food? Jack in the Box, KFC, Subway, El Pollo Loco, Rally's Burger, most of the donut shops, the burger stands, Woody Barbecue, all the fish markets, some of the beauty supply stores on Crenshaw, and Rainbow on La Brea. You can buy you some clothes. How much you got on your EBT card? Girl, I got enough to get it turned up. I done took the kids to the babysitter. Which liquor store take the EBT card? Where y'all get that Patron last time?
Public service announcement. This is where the taxpayer money goes.
The top story tonight, and this is incredible. The Pennsylvania Department of Public Welfare says that a single mother with 2 children is better off taking a job that pays $29,000 a year than a job that pays $69,000 a year. Why? Because of entitlements. Joining us now from our New York studio, Fox business anchor Lou Dobbs. So, Lou, explain this, please.
Well, Bill, first, I think we've got to give great credit, as you've mentioned, to the Department of Public Welfare in Pennsylvania. They're being honest and straightforward, and I wish the federal government, as I know you do, would listen. But think about these benefits that are being received by this woman. $25,000 and a take-home salary of $57,000. You add to that all of the expenses that we go through, whether it's child care, whether it is transportation. In the instance of one parent and 2 children in Pennsylvania, food stamps amounts to a subsidy of $6,300 a year to that family of 3. Medicare and child health insurance, $16,500 a year. Section 8 subsidized low-income rent, another $4,300. Earned income tax credits, modestly $5,000. They could rise significantly beyond that. But at any rate, they would total so much money, combined with the National School Lunch Program, the Needy Family Assistance Programs. We're talking about more take-home pay, disposable income for that woman with her 2 children on public assistance than a woman with 2 children earning $57,000 a year.
I hear something saying, that's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. That's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. All day long they're saying,
I've been practicing as a tax lawyer for the last 20 years. I've never been incarcerated before. I've never anticipated being in a situation like this.
Bruce Charles. I believe inmate Bruce will have a difficult time for the first couple of nights. He's not the average inmate on intake. It might be difficult for him here.
I've got a few questions for you I need to ask you. Do you fear for your safety while you're in jail?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Should I?
Okay, I need you to read over this information right here. This is regarding sexual assault cases in the jail.
For me to be put in a situation where it's dangerous and could get physically harmed for financial motives, I mean, it's just a whole other dimension of ridiculous.
This is going to be your housing upstairs temporarily until they move it to the upper floors.
Thank you very much. It is impossible for me to pay the amount of alimony and child support that's been ordered every month. It was more than 100% of my after-tax income. I couldn't pay it. I paid everything I could. I borrowed every penny I could from everybody I could.
All right, here's some jail issues, some shoes, and a bag.
Okay.
Everything with the exception of your socks and underwear going here.
This whole divorce process, I've been stripped of so many things. I've been stripped of my assets. I've been stripped of my income. I've been stripped of my job. I've been stripped of my house, everything. In Colorado, if you aren't current on your child support, you lose your license to practice law. And I doubt after being incarcerated, I'm going to get it back.
Go and tuck your shirt in there, Mr. Bruce.
Oh, okay.
And then grab a black bag and go over in the corner here.
Okay.
It's your property bag. Cup and spoon, towel, stuff right there for me.
But more importantly, I mean, she's taking my kids. Got two boys, 11 and 7. For the last 2 years, I've seen my kids 9 hours a week and haven't had a single overnight for 2 years. And now they're going to lose the little bit that we were hanging on to. To cut that off, it's ridiculous. Just put the father of her children in jail because she wanted more money. Day for work delivered commissary. It's good in a lot of ways, but it's hard because I'm going into every single pod, all the way up to the maximum security areas. Just reiterating the reality of I'm in jail and I'm going to be here for a long time, it seems like.
I don't have no respect, and I mean it, and a lot of sisters ain't gonna like me for this. I have no respect if you put child support on a man.
There's a worldwide revolution going on.
And in my opinion, the young generation of white, black, brown, whatever else there is, you're living at it, there's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with revolution. Revolution, 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 revolution.
Failure to provide these essential resources to your children is a form of child abuse. When you fail to pay your child support that your child needs, I believe that is child abuse. Also, if you fail to pay your child support, we're here to make it very clear it's a crime. We'll come out, we'll find you, we'll arrest you, and we'll put you behind bars. Today we are also unveiling our newest top 10 most wanted child support evaders. These are the worst of the worst.
It's a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you Miss Carol Rhodes.
I came to the 37th Circuit Family Court to make a difference. I was well qualified and hoped to be able to help Michigan families of divorce and separation, but early on I realized that the system was not designed to be child-friendly. No friendship nor honest conciliation were ever allowed in the family justice system between caseworkers and clients. It was all about money. How to get the federal and state tax dollars that were allotted each case for enforcement. In fact, our director would say regularly, we aren't the friend of the family, we're the friend of the court. We stumbled over ourselves trying to get more Title 4D cases on our records and to increase the child support orders because the federal government granted huge allotments for each case we enforced. In the years I worked in the system, I witnessed regular deception to clients that was mandated by office policy. I saw gender bias and discrimination. I saw records destroyed.
I saw office policies and rules change from week to week for the profit of the agency. I saw hundreds of pleas for parenting time or enforcement get buried because there is no money in enforcing custody or visitation issues. Increasing the child support money that came into our offices was the goal for each of us. We were rated according to how much money we brought in through asset seizures, income garnishment, court hearings, warrant issue. We wrote the orders and then we enforced them. The judge merely rubber stamped our efforts. My director proudly told me that the Child Support Enforcement Agency was the darling of the circuit court, and that we actually made money for the judge and the court.
I don't have no respect, and I mean it, and a lot of sisters ain't gonna like me for this. I have no respect if you put child support on a man.
And I wrote the book, Friend of the Court, Enemy of the Family. The determinations were made on the basis of the most child support that could be ordered for each case.
Yeah.
Fathers or non-custodial parents were stereotyped as payers only. The court and most caseworkers felt that fathers were unnecessary and possibly dangerous for the children to have contact with. The child support system is an adversarial system. It encourages parental alienation and court battles. Children are pawns in an expensive and elaborate game of winner versus loser. Attorneys coming into the picture further divide the already fractured family and insulate the parents from communicating with each other. I heard many unwed fathers tell me that they begged the mothers of their children to marry them, but that the mothers were unwilling to give up the welfare check in exchange for a husband and father in the home. The most outdated picture of the father leaving the mom and kids to run off with his secretary is all but a thing of the past. In Southwest Michigan, 98% of the divorces are initiated by mothers and unwanted by the father.
72.5% out of wedlock birth rate in America today.
For African Americans?
For African Americans. That's embarrassing.
The black out of wedlock birth rate back then was 22 to 25%.
Right.
And this was the roughest part.
Exactly.
Okay. It's tripled now. Tripled.
Well, in 1940, when there was a lot of racism in the United States, the out-of-wedlock birth rate in black America was 19%. Then in 1965, as you said, it was 65%. 25%. This coincides with the beginning of the Great Society welfare state.
Yeah, and by the way, Republicans don't have a problem with women, as I'm sure you guys know, the audience may not. They have a problem with unmarried women.
Right, that's right.
Who think, no, we don't need national defense, we need our birth control paid for. And why? Because single women look at the government as their husbands.
I want to give a shout out to my kids' real daddy. Thank you, government, for putting me on. I mean, you was the definition of a real father. Because when your kids is hungry, they have food stamps. Yeah, we shop at Walmart. Yeah, we shop at Publix. We shop at Winn-Dixie. When your kids need shelter, yes, you have housing. And you also have Section 8 for a lot of us. And when our kids fall, get hurt, or sick, they have Medicaid. Yes, we go to the ER, we go to the walk-in clinic, and we also can make a doctor's appointment. I get their prescriptions with no hesitation. Now, that's not the definition of a real father, making sure your kids have food, shelter, and health care. I don't know what it is. So like I said, thank you, government, for being my kid's daddy, and thank you for putting me on.
And y'all didn't like when I said this before, when I said, y'all people like these type of sisters, if you're going to keep having babies with these men and you're not going to have any standards for yourself, then maybe you should have yourself what they call tied up. Right. That's where I was coming from. I'm not what they call like a Margaret Sanger or eugenicist. I'm just saying we have to take responsibility. Stop opening your legs. All right, I had 2 children out of wedlock, out of what they call wedlock. I understand my responsibility, but I am not gonna go put child support on those brothers because I made a wrong type of decision. All right, so that's all I'm saying. Like, get out the system. You got to get out of her. Get out of the beast. But if you're willing to stay in, that means you're willing to put child support on the brother because you got to be in their system to do it. So you're either going to be a part of the system or you're going to be a part of the solution. If you're a part of the system, you're not a part of the solution. You're on that plantation. I advise you to get the hell off.
Just hearing the words child support sparks an emotional response in just about anyone. Fathers who feel like the rules are more about the paycheck than the parenting. Moms who say they can't live on what they have.
In general, I think the perception is that it's unfairly biased towards men in the state of Massachusetts.
I think that the formula used is fair. The law is reasonable. People have a responsibility to support their children.
I bring home $1,626 a week and $350 go to child support.
Brian Ayer says $18,000 a year in child support for his infant son is too steep. At 29 years old, he says he had to move back in with his parents. He sees his son every other weekend and a couple of nights a week.
When I have my son, I still need to provide clothing for him. I still need to provide a crib. I need to provide food, diapers, whatever his necessities are when he's with his mother.
I went back to live with my parents. I had to, from a cost standpoint, until I could afford to live in a decent place. And then you feel kind of like a second-class citizen because your kids are coming to a small place after being at, mom's nice house. And
John Gagnon has been paying alimony and writing out child support checks for 11 years. He now pays $2,700 a month for his teenage daughter. He says she stays with him nearly half the time, and his 19-year-old son lived with him full-time before going off to college this fall. He feels the guidelines don't take into account how much time he spends with his kids.
It really didn't matter.
Is child support basically being used as a tool of control against the man? Being used as a tool of punishment against the man or the other parent?
Now, imagine, just for a second, your ex bouncing checks all over town because you placed a lien on his checking account and seized all of that money that he had in there because he wasn't paying you child support. Just close your eyes and imagine just for a second how that might feel for you. But now you have found a way to collect your money, and now you have all of that cash that was sitting in his account. How sweet does that feel to you? Close your eyes again and imagine your ex walking out of his place of business one day or wherever, and he goes to walk over to his fancy sports car that he had parked, and it's gone. It's not there anymore. And why is it not there anymore? Because you filed the right paperwork and you had the sheriff to go and seize that fancy sports car that he has and take it in because he is not paying child support. And the only way that he can get that fancy sports car back is if he pays you, if he ponies up. Because if he doesn't pony up the unpaid child support, then the car gets sold at auction and you then get that cash. Or the car then belongs to you and you can go and drive it around, his office complex. Hey, look at my new car, So the option's yours. I'm just giving you your choices here.
In jail for child support.
That they gotta cough up, particularly like celebrities or rich people gotta cough up all this money a month for a child, while the baby mama sits at home, goes shopping, gets cosmetic surgery, goes on shopping sprees, and the child's walking around, shoes tore up, hair tore up, looking like none of that money, not a penny of it was used towards that child. It's all on the mama's back, and she driving around and living in it.